It is our High5 Live, and we are very excited to be with you here tonight because we know that it is important for us to stay connected and have the real conversations about what is going on in our world today. And we would love to hear from you in the comments. Any questions or things that you would like to talk about tonight. And we're going to give people a moment or two here to jump on with us. And then we will launch into this discussion. And it's definitely an interesting time, right? Unprecedented. And for any of us who think that we know what is going to happen in the next week, let alone month, I think we're fooling ourselves. Because I don't know about you all, but last week, every day brought something new, and it seemed like a week, it was a month in a week, and yet it went really fast. So what we're going to talk about tonight, while these guys are out inviting people to come join us, is what do you do now to be ready for then? And by then, we're talking about the future, whatever that is, and what will become the new normal. Because the one thing that I'm sure we can all agree on is everything is changing. And for some, it's changed quicker than others. Being here in California, right? We've been on lockdown, shelter in place for almost a week, I believe. And
came in on Thursday, yeah.
Thursday.
Yep.
Yeah, I know some my friends in Houston out there. Hey everybody, I know that you guys got that decreed yesterday or today, and I think in Minnesota it hasn't hit yet with my family back there. So the question is, what do we do? And you know, I'll just share first about what this has been like for me. And if you were doing our 7-day joyride last week, you'll know that we just shared openly about what this is for us, because I will say this is how my life is going right now. There's ups and there's downs, and depending on what's going on, right, I really got to be conscious of my reaction to things. So today, for example, I got some news about some friends of mine who lost their jobs, and that was really sad for me. And for me, it's being very empathetic and compassionate for that, and then figuring out how to help them and every one of us stay positive. Because the one thing that I believe, no doubt, is that the more positive that we stay during this time, the more we help ourselves, the more we help each other, and the more that we help the world. And so we'll talk tonight, and I know these guys all have things that they want to say about living in fear, because there's a lot of that going on right now. And how do we combat that with the opportunity to truly live in a space of love for ourselves, love for our fellow human beings, and really coming together while socially, distanced, coming together and really supporting each other. So please, again, if you are joining in tonight, tell us, how are you feeling? What's going on? What's in your head? What's in your heart? What would you like to talk about? Everything's on the table, because it is this time in our life where it really is the time to choose joy. Because like we've said many times here at High5, it's not about choosing joy when it's easy. Anybody can do that. And to be completely transparent, I'm excited for when it's easy again. I really am. And it's about choosing joy when it's not easy. And that's the situation that we're in. So how do we go find the silver lining? So I was on the phone earlier with a recent graduate and a friend, and she actually does some stuff here with us at High5, Karen, and she was talking that in their house they have a silver lining list. And every time they think of something that's a silver lining to what's going on, they add that to the list. And I said, well, okay, well, just know I'm taking that and sharing that tonight with the High5 community. So thank you, Karen, for that one. So I want to check in with everybody and just kind of see how everybody's doing, what's going on. And I'm going to open up the floor. Who wants to chat?
Well, I will chat. If you're asking us,
Yeah.
I will chat.
Yeah.
Being the leader I am, I will go first. When this whole thing started, this whole COVID-19 thing started, I'm not much of a news watcher. I have not legitimately watched any televised news for 20 plus years. Occasionally I'll look at something online and read about something, but I don't get involved. So since this whole thing started, I've been more into paying attention to the news than I have been in many, many moons. And I remember why I stopped watching the news.
I bet you have.
Now, that's not to say that I don't need to be informed, and I am. And I find, honestly, that I subscribe to one portal, one forum of news, and I find that reading the headlines is plenty of information.
That's exactly what I do. Literally, I do it once a day.
Yep.
And then if something else really needs to get into my awareness, somebody's going to tell me.
Right. Exactly. And it's not about, so I'm informed. I know what I need to know. I know how it's affecting my world. We live in Chicagoland. So Illinois went on the mandatory lockdown, shelter in place, Saturday, I think. But the girls were released from school March 13th. So it's been part of our world for about 10 days now. And so I'm informed, and I'm not reading everything. I made the mistake of doing that one day, and I didn't even realize it, but I guess I was talking out loud, commenting out loud, saying things like, oh, Jesus, whatever. And Kevin was like, stop it. Stop looking at it. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm done. And my whole point here is it's really, really easy. And I'm saying easy to get sucked into the sensation of what's happening. The media portrayals, absolutely, because sexy sells, sensational sells. And again, not to say this isn't a big deal, and it's not something it is definitely something we should be aware of and be paying attention to, and just keeping in mind what we really need to know, and not getting sucked into everything else. It's going to weigh you down and make your heart heavy. And you got enough of that in your own, and I got enough of that in my own world, dealing with 2 kids who have different things going on around this. And the changes we've had to make with the company High5 and our jobs, things like that. And so I guess that would be my first point, is to be aware, be cognizant of what you're reading and what you're watching. And if you find yourself getting lower and lower and deeper into a hole, stop watching it, stop reading it. You're not going to miss anything. And there isn't really any reason we have to have every nugget of this information. And that's my first awareness.
Yeah, and I want to just tie that. So I love that, Michelle. And what I want to tie it to is one of our 7 key messages: I am at choice.
Yep.
Because we are a choice how much of that. So and like you said, it's not about not being informed. It's about what's getting my attention and how much of my energy am I giving that. So yeah,
Yep.
I love that.
And above all, I would say if you feel like you have to watch it all and read it all and whatever, don't start your day that way. Give yourself a jump start, a head start, a positive start before you dive into all of that craziness.
You know, one of the things that you sent out earlier today, Michelle, was John A. Cuff's post. And I'm probably paraphrasing because I don't remember his exact language, but the question was, and what I'm watching bringing me fear, or is it bringing me hope? I think that was kind of the message, right?
It was about fear or faith, and you have a choice. Fear or faith, and you have a choice. Faith.
And so on my watch party here, Terry Nesh asked, how do I get my parents to stop watching the news so much? And I loved what he said in that article is what I'm watching bringing me more fear, or is it bringing me faith or hope? And it's all fear-based. You know, there was another article I read today that talked about rational fears versus irrational fears. And so many of the stories that we're creating are all based on irrational fears. And we react to that. Our 200 million year old brains react to that stuff as if it is real. And so it really is about just checking the story. What information do we really need to know every day exactly how many people died yesterday from this virus? Or do we just need to know that the trend is still trending, that more people are getting sick or fewer people are getting sick, right? And so what are you filling your brain with? What are you focusing on? What stories is that creating for you? And if the stuff that you're filling your consciousness with is all fear-based, turn that shit off and find something else to focus on.
Well, and it's what can we control? So if we focus and spend all of our energy on things we can't control, that's where that fear is going to continue to come from. What can we control? We can wash our hands. I just move my hand from my face. Still working on that one. And I can keep my distance, right? And do the things that I know to do, so I am not spreading this anymore. Yeah. And so I think that's got to be one of the absolute most important things for every last one of us, is what is getting our attention? What are we focused on? Kevin just said it. And are we focused on the things that we can control, or are we focused on the things that we can't control? Because as long as we stay focused on the things that we can't control, it's going to drive into that irrational fear. So one of the things in that article Kevin just talked about was the choice to either fall in love with fear and allow it to crush your team, or use the fear to fuel their future. So
two things about that, Barb. Yesterday I had a coaching call, an impromptu coaching call with somebody, and everything that he was talking about was all focused on the things that he could not control. Mm-hmm. And so my reframe for him was, okay, so focus on what you do have control over. And when you take that control back, understanding that there are a lot of things out there we have no control over. We don't have control over what other people do. We don't have control over what the government does. We don't have control over how the virus behaves. We have no control over any of that, but we do have control over how often we wash our hands, whether or not we choose to stay home, whether or not we choose to observe the 6-foot rule. All of those things, that's what we have control over. And if you're still doing business, which a lot of people are, not all businesses have shut down, control the things you can control. You can't control results, but you can control your behavior. You can control your attitude, right? Another thing was, oh gosh, you were talking about that article, and it had to do with, oh, it'll come back to me. Never mind. I'll think of it. It had something to do with what you said about that article, and it'll come back to me. So enough for that.
You know, the other thing, and so I had a conversation yesterday with a good friend of our community and a very good friend of mine, a business owner, and was more business, right, business owner to business owner, and how do we address what's going on? And because we believe what we believe, right? We believe that anytime negative shows up, positive's available, and that there is a positive. And I 100% believe there are many, many, many positives that are going to come out of all of this. And we still get to practice vulnerability. And I mean, the very first thing that I did on Monday morning after all of this started to do is I got the team together and we just had an honest conversation about what this might look like for High5. And then we had another honest conversation a few days later, and likely we'll have many more, because it changes every single day. So I'm not, it just because I'm having an honest conversation and we need to cut costs and we've cut salaries, we've done all of those things so that we can keep viable and still be here supporting our community while we're retooling some of our products and services, right? It doesn't mean that because we're doing those things that we can't still be positive about it. Because what we are now focused on is all of the opportunity, the things that we've known as a company that would be good for us to do. We're now got the time to do it. And we could have either just said, you know what, this is just not going to work, let's just walk away, or we have that choice to figure out what it's going to take. It's not pretty, and it doesn't have to be. It just has to be focused on an outcome. Because I'm the first to admit there's been a moment or two I've wanted to just crawl on the couch, put the blanket over my head, and just pretend that this isn't happening. And what's the benefit in that? And it doesn't mean that I'm not going to have my moments. And the more that we stay focused on the opportunity and what we want, and if nothing else, just the gratitude, and how do we help others? How do we just show up for others? How do we, it's about reaching out to the people who don't have anybody and making sure they're okay, and that they're focused on something positive to help the person down the street get their groceries if that's what they need. Whatever it is, so that we are all joined together, because I have never seen such a great example that says we are all connected as this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Virus is a great equalizer. It does not discriminate.
No.
And as far as finding the positive, I've already seen some great instances of it. I took my dog for a walk today. It was a beautiful sunny day here in Chicagoland. 50. That make you feel cold, Bimo?
That's very cool.
Put my shorts on.
But again, we've been in this place for a while now, and so people are outside walking a lot. And everybody I came in contact, let me rephrase that. Everybody whose path I crossed, everybody was very friendly. We were 6 feet apart, but we were saying hi, how are you, smiling, making eye contact. The Amazon Prime driver gave me a wave. I mean, it was all very Mayberry, and it's the way it should be. And what I've noticed is people are now looking at people, and maybe it's initially a look to see like if I should be wary of you or whatever, I don't know, but people are looking at people. And before, when everything was so loud and busy, and we were human doings instead of human beings, people didn't look at people. In my world, people didn't look at people. People didn't just say hi just because, and the Prime driver didn't just give a wave and whatever. And And so there is definitely a positive. We are all in this together, and everybody is experiencing it at some level in some way. And it's much easier if we support each other, which seems to be what's happening at this point.
So
And that's my positive.
Let's dive into the positive. So I think that would be a good thing for all of us. And we can create our own silver linings list. So what are some, in addition to what Michelle just said, so those of you on Facebook, we want to hear from you. What are some of the positives that you are experiencing as a result of what's going on? So let's have some of those.
Let's have some of that.
Ish and I are getting to spend more time with each other. We're finding new and creative things to do. And so that's been fun.
My Pilates instructor has moved quickly to her online classes. So I am signed up for a class every day this week. It's the most incredible thing. I'm so excited that I get to do something every day. Yoga one day, meditation one day. It's awesome.
Well, and to that point, Ronnie, there are so many people that are going online and offering free classes. I've heard, I've not seen, because I haven't been on much, but that like artists are giving their
Concerts.
free concerts, all sorts of like really cool stuff. Again, all connected. Craig says, we are playing with the kids outside every evening, getting out for more walks. Okay, I'm enjoying watching the children play and actually meeting from 6 feet my neighbors.
Yeah. I met a new neighbor for the first time at one of those encounters. It was interesting. And I've never seen more people walking in my neighborhood. Because I walk often, especially and I've never seen this many people do it. So that's been cool to observe.
What was the TV show with Tim the Tool Man Taylor and the guy that peered over the
Home improvement.
Wilson.
Wilson. Yeah, that's like that's meeting our neighbors, peeking over the fence. Terry Nesh says finally being okay and enjoying FaceTime and things like Zoom and really loving Marco Polo app.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
connecting with finding ways to connect with each other, right? Because that's really what this is all about. It's about connection, right? We are human beings, not human doings. I think Michelle said that earlier. And really, really just connecting. George Vizoso says, family time. I made breakfast for my children this morning, right? And when this is all over, because this will pass. I posted actually out in Momentum this afternoon, something that I got from Angelo DiTullio. And it was a Les Brown inspirational, motivational video. And he said, this is not here to stay. This is here to pass. And it will pass. And we will have, things will return to a normal. It won't necessarily be what you're used to, but it will get back to a normal. And what's interesting to me about this time, this iteration of crisis is, as human beings, it's very interesting to me, the psychological component of it. I believe it's called recency bias. We have a bias towards things we've recently experienced. And so we think that the recent thing is the way everything should be. So unless it returns to the way it exactly was, then it's not okay. It's never going to be the way it was. It's the end of the world as we know it, and that's okay, because the question is, what else is possible? And somebody else commented and said something about, but my heart still goes out to the people who are affected and who've lost jobs and who lost lives and loved ones. Absolutely. One of you said it at the beginning of the call. This doesn't submit that we're just glossing over this and saying, be positive. Hell no, this sucks. There's a lot about this that sucks. A lot of my friends lost their jobs today, and they're scared. They're afraid. They don't know what the future holds, and I feel bad for them, and I'm concerned about them. So this isn't about being Pollyanna and saying, oh no, it's fine, everything's fine. Not at all. It will be fine. And right now it sucks. And our hearts go out to those people. And we are still at choice. We still have choices to make. We can still find the positive. We can still, like George said, focus on the fact that you got to make breakfast for your kids today, right? Find the joy in that. Barb, you've talked about a lot how, it's easy to find joy when things are going well, and we look forward to that time again. And this is the time, right? Finding joy when it's difficult. That's when the real practice of this stuff shows up.
Yeah, I think, so Kevin, it's a good point. It's there. And what you touched on is, this does suck. This is a tough situation, and it's okay to have the fear and whatever. I've had the fear. And, Barb, you mentioned getting on the couch and hiding under a blanket. And if that's what I need to do, then, okay, let me go experience that. And then for me, it's about getting out of that and mostly taking action with what I can control. So the more that I continue to take action with things that I can control, the better I feel. And because that roller coaster, Barb, that's just nonstop. And sometimes I've needed to just feel the fear and then be, okay, now what am I going to go do? And that's okay. And the more that I just let it happen, feel whatever emotion I need to feel, and then get back to, for me, it's what do I have control over and what can I do? Even if it's just simply, I'm going to follow my morning routine today, and I'm going to get up, I'm going to get up and I'm going to meditate, and I'm going to do my journal. I've made sure I'm doing that every single day because it is helping. I'm going to do my journal. I'm going to get in the shower, whatever that is. Every time I take another action, I keep feeling better. Right. And that doesn't mean that the fear doesn't come back, because it is an absolute roller coaster. And then I feel whatever I need to feel so I can let my whatever experience that. And then what am I going to do now? Okay, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to go walk the dogs. That I can do.
There's a lot of awesomeness on here on the post. So Ari, I'm going to take it away from us for a minute. Peggy Barley, the only thing I can control is what I wear for the day. She takes walks with her fur babies and group chat with her 3 daughters every evening. That in itself calms my heart. Lisa Altericio, choosing joy even among the unknown, and says that her kids have reconnected, which is awesome. The positive is my son and my daughter are reconnecting. They went from brother and sister playing to teenage years back to where we're all here. House comes alive at 3 p.m. with a 20 and 18-year-old, which is awesome. And that's what's happening in our house as well, Lisa, and I love it. Trisha Day, a friend of ours from high school. Rest. I'm not existing bell to bell anymore. I'm living each part of my day.
Hell
that
yeah.
is awesome.
And the key, I'll let you get back to these in a second. The key to that is to keep living. So figuring out now and understanding how important that is and taking that into the next phase of this journey. So I love that.
I do too. Leanne Erie, finding it fascinating how creatively people are finding ways to do business, network, and help one another. This wouldn't necessarily have happened without the current situation. True. I'm seeing a lot of people, including myself, getting well outside of the comfort zone to keep things moving forward with positive momentum. And I want us to actually speak to that, because that was also another thing I experienced on my walk today. There is a couple of guys who are opening a new restaurant here in our little community. And sadly now, that's kind of got the kibosh on it, at least for the time being, because nobody's going to restaurants. And this is to the point, I think we made this point last week. It's somewhere in our community joyride, which is we need to be willing, we need to be okay with it looking different. And these guys who new restaurateurs and aren't able to open their restaurant right now, they took a different approach and they posted on our community website and said, hey, place your orders, pay us through PayPal, and we'll meet you in this place and we'll hand you your food. And I didn't know that's what was going on. I didn't see it, but a friend of mine happened to be there, and there was a line of people, and they were being very responsible and all practicing social distancing. Nobody was any closer than, I'd say 10 feet to each other. And everybody was just standing there patiently waiting. And this guy on his truck was handing out this amazing smelling food. It was nicely packaged. And I asked my friend what was going on. I hadn't seen the post, and she told me. And that's a beautiful example of ingenuity in the face of crisis. And they turned their negative into a positive. They're still, because they're opening their restaurant because they love to cook. They love the food they cook and they want to share it. I do know that about them. I've seen them post a lot on our community website, on our community website.
And they're the ones that are going to be here when this is over.
Absolutely. So
Because
it's that kind of being okay with it looking different. The ingenuity and the innovation to make it be something other than it was, because let's face it, now is something other than it was. And then is going to be something other than it was going to be.
And it's not going back to the way it was, people.
No.
It's not. And that's a good thing. It's creating opportunities for people to find new adventures, to find new opportunities, to find things that make them happier. There are a lot of people that choose to go to work every day miserable. And if you got laid off and you hated your job, celebrate that and go find something that lights you up and do that. Because the fear holds so many people back from really truly going for the things that they want in their lives. And now the universe is equalizing some things and saying, here's your opportunity. You can see it as a challenge or you can see it as an opportunity. And we get to make that choice. And it's scary because I would suffice to say, we are all outside of our comfort zone right now. We haven't experienced something exactly like this. And as a result, a lot of us don't know what to do. And somebody, I don't remember if Barb, you said it or Chad or Michelle, somebody said, take action, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing that I want to say here, because I did some coaching today with one of my friends who happened to get laid off today. And she said, today I'm going to feel sorry. I'm going to feel sad and I'm going to feel sorry for myself. And I'm going to have a pity party. And I said, you know what? That's okay. Because today sucks. Today does. It's shitty. And she said, and then she said, and tomorrow, she said, and today I'm rewriting my 30-day story. And tomorrow I've got a plan of action to move forward. So yeah, this is not submitting or saying, ignore the feelings, ignore the sadness, feel that stuff and work through the grief, work through the sadness and the anger and the frustration and whatever it is, work through it and then refocus and ask what's next, what's possible, what do I want to do, refocus on an outcome and then make a plan and take action. Take the first step.
Take any step.
Every
time I have taken a step, it has helped me. So, I mean, with the layoffs and the financial stuff, I mean, that's tough and it is scary. And, Barb talked about what High5 is doing right now, and it is scary. And every time I take action with something that I can control, that I can do, I feel better. And so today I feel better than I did yesterday, and I feel better than I did last week. And I still don't have it all. I do not have it all figured out. And tomorrow my plan may change again. I have no idea. I am just taking this one day at a time and every day looking at what can I do today? What is available to me? And then deciding what I'm going to do, even if it's just one little thing. And also expanding my perspective to things I might not have done before this had happened. Yeah. So
we talk about this in our class, right?
It is different. This is, like you said, this is a different situation. And what would not have been an option for me to do 3 weeks ago, maybe that's an option today. So re-looking at all of that and really asking, Is that what I'm going to do? And if the answer is yes, cool. And if the answer is no, I'm not there yet, okay, that's cool too. And tomorrow that answer may change.
That's right.
For me, it's just taking any action.
It's about being in this moment, still focusing on our outcome. The outcome doesn't change necessarily. The outcome is still the same. If we had this plan of action, so let's just be honest, High5 leadership, we had a plan of action for 2020. We did.
We did.
And it did not involve
And it was
a
an
global
awesome
pandemic.
plan.
And we were taking steps, right? We saw the outcome and we knew what steps we wanted to take. And we were taking those steps. And all of a sudden, circumstances showed up that were not in our field of vision. And so all of a sudden, the strategies that we had blew up. Okay, now what? Do we give up or do we say, okay, it's why we say in class, take a step, like Chad just said, and now look up and see what new resources and circumstances are around me. Because as they show up, it's not just the new circumstances that have shown up. New resources have shown up too. We just have to be willing to expand our periphery and our field of vision to see something, like you said, Chad, something that 3 weeks ago was absolutely not a resource or an option for me. All of a sudden today, it's absolutely an option today because the situation has changed. And when I take that approach and I'm still focused on my outcome, but I'm ready to maneuver, I'm not so rigid and stuck in my plan and upset because everything blew up, I can pivot and move. And those are going to be the people that are going to be there when this all passes, and it will pass. It always does.
Yeah.
This is kind of the ultimate stop asking WTF and start asking WTO.
It is, and it's a great opportunity to practice being in the moment and not having not being so rigid with my plan that I'm unwilling to be flexible, because I don't have any idea what tomorrow is going to look like right now, and or the day after that or the day after that, and tomorrow I will figure out tomorrow. And so I'm going to continue to take action that I think is the best action today, and then tomorrow I'm going to take the action that I think is the best action tomorrow. And I have no idea what that's going to look like in a day, a week, a month, whatever. What I do know is that if I let the fear consume me and don't take any action, that I can paint a picture of what that will look like. And that's not where I want to be. And it doesn't mean I don't feel it. I feel it, and then I do something.
So Kevin said this is an opportunity. The one thing I've done myself is I've done tasks that I've been putting off for a year, 6 months, 3 months. This is an opportunity, I feel, to get some of that stuff out of the way, because things are going to go back to a normal, and we can have those. I can have those and the new stresses going forward, or I can say, okay, I can't do this now, but I can take care of everything else, like hanging up pictures, rearranging my room, just changing my perspective. And that even helped, just because things are changing changing my perspective was probably the best thing I could do, is just a new outlook at what's happening.
Barb, you were going to say something?
Probably a lot of things. I'm back on Facebook. Lisa says, it's amazing how outside our comfort zone is becoming the comfort. So that's right, one of those silver linings. Our comfort zone will have gotten a lot bigger through this. And what my challenge is to everybody is, what can you learn from this? Right? What is this teaching us? And I think that there's just so many opportunities right there. The other one, somebody said, remember the show Lost? The doctor said, count to 5 and be as scared as you want to be, then run, act, go out there and do it. Right? Feel the fear and write a new story. I believe that it is a really amazing time for us to, because somebody, I think it was Craig, talked about, how do I stay positive with my daughter? And this is a great opportunity to have real conversations with our kids, those that are old enough to have the conversation, because it's not for us to say, well, we're not scared because we're outside of our comfort zone just like they are. And it is an awesome opportunity to teach them some leadership skills and some resiliency skills, because feel the fear and then write the new story. So all of that fear, and this is what I was going to say, Chad, all of that fear is stuff that we're projecting. We really have no idea, right? So if I stay present and in the moment, and we said that a million times in our classes, our power is in the present moment. And if I stay in the present moment, focused on the outcome, then I'm going to know what that step is to take. And as people who are practicing, this is a great opportunity to practice leadership, to practice joy, but to actually just have those conversations with our kids and help them rewrite the story. Because if we teach them how to do that now, no matter what comes in the future, they're going to be prepared. But so often we want to protect. I get it. I want to as well. We want to protect them from what's going on. And rather than protect, teach. Teach how to go through this. Teach why it's important. Well, you know, it's, and we talk about Michelle's teenagers, but right, they don't get necessarily, why do I have to stay home? Why can't I just go to the store with my friends? Well, it's not so much about whether you get sick, it's, are you going to bring it to everybody else? So why is it important that we do our jobs? So how do we teach and use this as an opportunity to really teach all of the people in our life and show up for them? Because it requires, this is the moment, right? This is the moment that we've been practicing for with our leadership skills.
Game time.
It is game time, and it matters how we show up. And that doesn't mean that we're always going to get it perfect. What it means is we have that opportunity to help others rewrite that story. And the more positive that we spread, if we turn the fear and we focus just on loving people, helping them, and figuring out how do we stay focused on the outcome and move forward. I mean, for me, that is what this is all about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just want to speak to your points about teaching our kids. And I know that, so my kids are 16. The kids I have at home are 16 and 18, a sophomore and a senior in high school, for those of you that don't know, both girls. And two having very different experiences around this whole thing. But to Barb's point about educating and teaching them, when they ask me questions, I answer the questions. When they express themselves about how they're feeling, I let them express themselves. To Barb's point about we want to protect. Well, my youngest daughter is scared and while she's better, she continues to be scared. And the reason I know that is because she continues to ask a question here and there that indicates she's still scared. She's worried about something or scared about something. So so I had to tell my kids they had to take a pay cut because I took a pay cut. And so her fear was, are we going to be okay? Yeah, we're going to be okay, honey. We just have to do these things right now. And then back when all this first started, it kind of came to a head and she said, I'm scared. And I said, I'm scared too. I've never seen anything like this and I don't really know what to do or what we're going to do. And we've got each other, so we'll get through it together and we'll just keep moving forward. So let them have, just as much as we're saying, you have your moments, feel the fear, feel the sad, the mad, whatever, the frustration, whatever you're feeling, feel those things, allow yourself that, because we all know if we don't, we swallow those emotions, that'll back up on you anyway, and it'll be ugly and way worse. But, and allow, we always want to protect our babies and we want to say, it's okay, but allow them to have those feelings, because if we don't allow them to have those feelings, when something like this happens later in their life and we're not here to hold them and comfort them every minute throughout it, then they're not going to know how to deal. So this is an opportunity, and that's to Barb's point. And I'm speaking as someone who has 2 teenage girls at home right now. We're dealing with all kinds of issues relative to them around this. I know from whence I speak. I know how hard it is. I know how much we want to protect. I so get that. And we overprotect, we're doing them a disservice, because there are going to be other things. Granted, none of us in our 50 plus years have seen anything like this. There have been other catastrophes in.
And she's gone.
Damn it.
And there have.
It was brilliant. I know. She rehearsed that for hours.
So I'll sum it up with what Craig said here on Facebook. He said, the more positive we are, the better their outlook can be. And there we go. Awesome. Cool. Well, here's where I would like to just kind of to wrap up where we're at right now, which is there are tools. And for those of you that have been part of this High5 community for a while, you have the answers. And it's not always comfortable and fun to pull them out, but we are at choice. And having and controlling the energy that we bring to the environment is important, because we're going to feel better. We have the opportunity to write those positive stories. Write your 30-day story. Write how you're going to show up. Write what the silver lining is. Be vulnerable. Connect to your kids. Go first, though. Be the one that steps up to be the leader, and accept personal responsibility for how you are going to get through this time, because we don't get to blame the virus. I mean, we didn't create it. Accepting personal responsibility isn't about responsible for the virus. It's responsible for how we respond to what is going on. And there she's back.
Oh, no. And that's all I have to say about that.
And then choose joy. Here's what we really want to make sure you know, is that we are 100% on your team. We're here to support you and serve you in whatever way that we can. We are going to be developing some new products. I think probably later this week, we're going to come out and I'm just going to let the cat out of the bag. We are offering free 30-minute coaching, reframing, positive story, whatever you need it to be, with Kevin, or it'll be with, if he's not available, one of the rest of us. We are here to support you, because we know sometimes those stories are so loud that our perspective, we can't really get out of it. And I know when I'm in that space, I call somebody else to help me see it, and we will be that person for you. All you got to do is shoot us an email, kevin@high5leadership.com, Barb, Michelle, Chad, and we are going to, or support at High5 Leadership. Anyway, you guys know how to find us. Let us help you stay positive, because when you find the positive, that's what you'll be able to share with others, and that's what we can spread in the world, because that's what the world needs a whole lot more of right now, is the positive, the love, the joy that's available. We're also keep in touch with us. You've got the 7-day joyride. If you go to our website, you can sign up for a 7-day joyride. We just did a community one, but you can do one every single week, and it helps. It really helped me last week when I did it. I'll just say that. We have we're doing a 2-hour workshop, virtual workshop on Thursday, specifically more for business owners, about whether your company's out of balance, and especially how that impacts right now, and things that you can do. We're putting together classes on communication, because we're having to learn how to communicate differently. We're going to have webinars about how to lead remote teams. So lots of things coming down Align from High5, and we are 100% on your team and here to serve you as we move forward. So you got us on speed dial. Use us, reach out to us, and let's do this together, because we're going to be way better on the other side of it.
We are all in this together.
We are.
This situation is not skipping anyone in the entire world. 7.5 billion people, everyone is affected in one way or another. The ripple effect of this, we have no idea. And so the choices that we make today, whether they be positive or negative, those are going to have ripple effects. And so we are still at choice. No matter what the circumstances are that are going on around us, we are still at choice. Remember that. You still can choose.
Yep. We've got all the answers. We've just got to stop the fear and focus on the answer. What is the outcome? All right. Any final thoughts? Otherwise, I think we just all go get on to what's next and stay positive. Choose joy. And from me to you, I love you.
And to those of you, a lot of my friends lost jobs today.
Yep.
A lot of our friends
Our friends,
lost
yeah.
jobs
A
today.
lot of High5's friends.
We love you. We support you. We are here for you. This is not a them versus us. This is us universal. This is we, and we got you, and we are here. Reach out, please. We're sending you our love and our positivity and our support, and we got your back.
Absolutely.
Adam, Ronnie, thank you for being here tonight and for being part of the High5 team as well. And let's do this, guys.
Got this.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
If you did the joyride last week, make sure you send in your 2-question questionnaire. We'll be doing our drawing tomorrow for one person, Barb, just one person.
One person.
One person who completed the joyride and turned in that 2-question questionnaire is going to get 6 free months of coaching with what I happen to believe is probably one of the greatest coaches in the world, certainly world class, amazing, incredible human being, compassionate, loving, kind, freaking hilarious.
Chad,
Chad,
when did you start?
I think Chad was doing it.
Wow.
Anyway, be there tomorrow Central Time, or 11, I don't know, sometime tomorrow.
Noon Central.
We'll be drawing for that. And so if you haven't done your questionnaire, get those in so that we can get your name in there so that Michelle can cut a little piece of paper with your name on it so we can draw it out of the hat.
Chad likes the way I do that.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you for joining, everybody. We love you.
All right, choose
Love
joy.
you.
Good night.
Love you.